And we're talking, of course, about the migrant crisis. We're going to talk now to James Daly, Tory MP for Bury North. He's got a big piece in The Sun this morning. Fix the Albanian migrant crisis or lose the red wall is what the headline says. And I think he's absolutely right about that. People are arguing all over the place from various different points of view that it's not the Albanians' fault. Albanians aren't all criminals. But there's serious problems here with the numbers of people coming to this country. I'm hearing that there's a place called the Atrium Hotel out in Hounslow, which is near Heathrow, normally used as a sort of stopover point for people travelling to and from Heathrow and to other countries. It's been commandeered supposedly by the Home Office and by Serco, and it's now full of something like 4,000 migrants. James, a very good morning to you. This is a massive issue for this country. We've been talking about it for the best part of 2 years. It's finally taken until now for the rest of the media to sort of catch up with us. But I do worry that there are some senior politicians in this country who don't know how big of a deal this is.
Well, it's massive, Mike, and hopefully my piece has just contributed to the facts of the matter.
Yeah.
You know, when we look at it, it's an absolutely appalling situation, and it should be a wake-up call for us all, because there's no sign of this stopping.
No.
There's no sign of, you know, if anything, the numbers are going to go up and up and up. And just for people watching, I mean, the figure's more than this now, but we are currently spending 1.8 billion per year on hotel bills for small boat crossing migrants claiming asylum. It is madness, Mike, and people deserve to know the facts of the matter. You've done a great job, Mike, over the period of time talking about this with, you know, people like, you know, my mate Lee Anderson.
Yeah.
But we now need to act.
Well, that's right, because, I mean, people are sick to death. What's obviously very clear to me, and has been for a long time, is that this is now a business. You know, this is not about people desperately coming here because they've got nowhere else to go. It's about criminal enterprise. It's about massive amounts of money being made by people smugglers, and it's about running criminal gangs into this country. And whether they like it or not, the left are going to have to accept that, and they're going to have to say that we are now in possession of knowledge that proves that many of the people coming here are not really asylum seekers at all.
Well, as I say in my article, Mike, this is not just me and you saying this. This is Commander Dan O'Mahony, who is in charge of these problems in the Channel. I'm a member of the Home Affairs Select Committee. He told us that the reason why this escalation in Albanian immigration is coming is because of the strength of Albanian organised criminal gangs in the north of France. We are seeing the biggest transfer of criminal activity from one country to another that I've certainly ever witnessed. And it has to stop. It is what it is. So people can call me and you, Mike, or say that we're this, that and the other. Listen to the Home Affairs Select Committee when we were talking about this. Dan O'Mahony made it extremely clear, and it's in my Sun article, what he said.
And you obviously know the red wall better than most. I mean, what are you hearing when you talk to people who voted Conservative, maybe for the first time in the last election, to give that big majority to Boris Johnson? You know, for them, this is the #1 issue, isn't it?
I think throughout the country, when people know about this, you know, red wall, you know, I don't think we should just limit it to that. You know, we cannot be in a situation in a few weeks' time. It's very soon. We're going to have an economic statement where we're going to make some very difficult decisions economically. We're going to ask people, perhaps, I don't know what's going to happen, Mike, perhaps to pay more taxes. We're going to see some reductions in funding of frontline public services. It is inexcusable that we are going to continue to spend billions on hotel bills for people who are entering this country illegally. And it's not just a red wall, it's all over the country. You know, I speak to my colleagues, you know, we're going to run out, I'm not exaggerating this, Mike, but the numbers coming in, we're going to run out of hotels to actually house.
Yeah. Well, my understanding is that's already happened. I mean, we started to get calls from people, I would say about 4 or 5 months ago, saying, you know, my local hotel in Wakefield is a place where we used to book parties. I was wanting, people wanting to book a retirement party, 61st birthday party. Can't do it now because it's full of migrants. It's basically closed off to the public. And whenever this happens, the staff in the hotel get laid off and they get replaced by people from Serco who are supposed to be running things. We're hearing today about this Atrium Hotel out in Hounslow, which is housing loads of people. And at the end of the day, other countries in Europe don't put up with this. You know, they don't accept asylum seeker claims from Albania in Germany or Sweden. They've got, you know, agreements in place to send Albanians back to Albania. We're supposed to have one of those, but we only send a few hundred compared to the thousands that are coming.
Yeah, I mean, Germany have had their agreement in place since 2002, but just if you don't mind, Mike, just a few of the other facts about this, which are completely inexcusable. Until recently, so we have people working in the Home Office decision makers, so the first tier of people who are deciding upon asylum claims. They're the ones who take the statement, make a phone call, etc., to establish, the background to a matter. They're making one decision a week, Mike, until recently. The aim of the government, I support the government completely, this Home Secretary, but, the Home First Select Committee was told the hope in terms of decision-making would be 4 a week. 4? That should be done before lunch on Monday. Yeah. We can't possibly address a backlog, which is over 100,000, by people making 4 decisions a week, because they then get appealed. And let's not, modern slavery, it is ludicrous, as I say in my article. Albania is a safe country. There's no civil war going on. There's no problems like that. They're coming through safe countries to get here. And if, a vast number of the Albanian males, over 10,000 of them who have come aged between 18 and 40, will make a claim under the Modern Slavery Act, that takes on average 450 days. 450 days to sort out. So although we can talk about lots of other things, the Home Office has got to get itself sorted out in terms of how it organises its staff to do things in an efficient way. Mike, in any other business, that level of productivity would not be tolerated.
No, exactly right. And what do you think is the problem in the Home Office? Because to me, there's a dual sort of problem. One is that ideologically, there's a lot of people in the Home Office who don't actually want these kinds of policies to be carried out by this government, and they don't want to do it in the same way that the Border Force's own union was taking the government to court over some of their policies that they wanted to roll out in the Channel. And second of all, they're just civil servants who are not very good at doing any work.
Well, I mean, it's like everything else, Mike. And, I have to preface this, is that I'm sure that, there are good people working in the Home Office and working very hard and trying their very best to do things. But I do think that one of the things you've seen, especially recently with the Home Secretary and the attempts to force her out of office, I don't know how to describe it apart from it being a sort of left-wing blob, a sort of, how can I put it? There is a very powerful group of individuals in this country who want to impose their ideology on the rest of us, who feel that we must take the most lenient view possible in respect of asylum claims. Now, I think that sort of way of thinking about things has seeped through to the Home Office. I was in a conversation with one of the ministers recently, and we grant far more asylum claims than France and Germany and countries like this. And one of the great ironies, Mike, is I keep getting told about how in many ways we should be, back in the European Union, following the example of, our friends in Europe. But on this issue, the left don't want to know about that.
No.
They don't want to know about the agreements in place between France and Sweden, these bastions of toleration that we keep getting talked about. It's utter madness. And it needs wholesale, changes. But I think it's got to come down to incompetence. The management of this system, and certainly in the last 12 to 18 months, has not been acceptable. No,
it absolutely needs to change. It needs to change fast. But we've been hearing this a lot, though, James. I'm pleased that you're getting involved in it, because up until now, an awful lot of previous Home Secretaries have promised work, and then it has never come to anything.
You see, my point about my piece, Mike, was that I backed Suella Braverman 100%. Known Suella for a long time. She's come in, you've seen the attack from the left on her already, because they know that she means business in respect to this. She's got the determination. I wouldn't come on a programme like yours, Mike, and waste my voice in terms of if I didn't think that the Home Secretary was serious. I think this Prime Minister's serious. I've talked to him about it. I think he's going to back the Home Secretary. I think we're going to get legislation. We'll have to see what that is. But we are where we are, and we can't tolerate anymore. There are kids who can't get school places in Kent. There are all sorts of examples about this. I was amazed, Mike. I mean, I probably misunderstood this. When I asked Commander Oman in the Home Affairs Select Committee, how much money are we spending in the Channel to stop people coming over? So the Royal Navy, they're there. What was amazing turned out to me was the Royal Navy, for who we pay at least £50 million a year, are not there to stop people. They're doing a good job of making sure people survive the crossing, but essentially they're there to make sure that people get across here safely.
I mean, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, incredible. I mean, I'm actually speechless for once, which is not great. James, really good to talk to you. Thank you so much. We will have you on again, because James Daly, an MP, properly doing his job for his Conservative constituents and for the entire nation. He's the MP for Bury North, but he wants this stopped and he needs to get it done. So we need to help him and support him. It's got to end. It's nonsense.